In this video, we're going to talk just briefly about inverse functions, okay? So it's like an introduction to the inverse function. So first thing you need to know about inverse functions is that they need to be you need to have a one-to-one function before you can find its inverse. Okay, so if it's not one-to-one, the function doesn't have an inverse. So definitely always going to have to check this before you start finding the inverse. You need to find if the function is one-to-one. So what is an inverse function? So a traditional function, so a regular function that we're used to seeing, you take in an x value, the function computes, you get out a y value. So the inverse function works in basically the opposite direction. We take in a y value, we do something with the inverse function, and then we get out an x value. Let's do a few examples of finding the inverse, let's do a few examples involving inverse functions. Okay, so first let's assume that f is 1 to 1, and let's answer these two questions. So say f of 4 is negative 2. Okay, so let us see, what does that mean? That means x equals 4 and y equals negative 2, right? F of 4 equals negative 2. So then find f inverse of negative 2. Okay, so remember, when we have the inverse function, we take in the y value, we get out the x. So f inverse of negative 2 would equal the x value, which is negative 4, or positive 4. Okay, so that would be f inverse of 4. F inverse of negative 2 would be 4. Okay, now let's do the next one. If f inverse of 8 equals 10, find f of 10. Alright, so let's understand what this f inverse of 8 means. So f inverse of 8, so y would be equal to 8. Remember, inverse functions don't take x, they take y, right? So y would equal 8, and then x would equal 10. So f of 10 would equal the corresponding y value, 8. Alright, and then that would be your answer.